Good morning, this is Rich from Tennessee Homestead. I know probably everybody's going, okay, enough with the chick flicks. Cute. Anyway, but this one here has kind of a special story. This was one of the eggs that was under the broody mama. And I guess at some point yesterday she decided that the two chicks that were alive were far more important than what eggs was left, and she'd brought them down out of the nest, abandoned the nest, and moved on with life with the two chicks she had. And there was only two of them. I thought I'd seen three lavenders, but there was only two. And she's done a real good job with them. They made it through the night in the coop. The other chickens seem to be accepting it. She's very defensive of them. So late last night, I would say probably 8:30, something like that, I had went over to the coop, and when I saw what was going on, touched the eggs. They were very cold because it got pretty cool last night. I thought, okay, well, let me get these eggs the heck out of here before some hen starts busting them open and we have a heck of a mess. And as I was putting these eggs into a container, I picked one up, and it was, I think it was the second or egg I picked up, or third. It started chirping at me, and I saw where it had pecked a hole in its shell and was very much alive and trying to hatch. So my first attempt was broody mama had put had built a little nest under the nest box again where she had the chicks, was to try to get her to go ahead and continue to sit on this egg long enough to hatch it. She immediately rolled the egg away from her, and when I tried to put it back a second time, she started pecking at the egg. So it was like, okay, so you're not going to let this happen. And didn't have a lot of choice. We have a group of eggs in the incubator, and they're, of course, on automatic turners. So I got my light, and I went out and I candled the eggs that was in that nest and found about 6 of them to be very viable. And of course, this little one here was working its way out of the shell. So I came back over and put them in the incubator. There was a little bit of room between the automatic turner and the side of the incubator, and I laid them in there. And then we went on chick watch. I kind of set up and babysitted this one because I couldn't turn off the automatic turner. I risked losing all the eggs I had in there. And I also didn't want this thing getting out of the shell and starting to wander around with that automatic turner running, because it could crush it. So it was late night last night. Finally had to throw in the towel, and went to bed probably around midnight or so, a little after. And then got up early this morning and checked on this one. It was still in the hatching process. So I went out and took care of some morning stuff. When I came back in, it was kicking its way out of the shell. So I left it lay there long enough for it to dry out a little bit and then brought it in here. So this is one of broody mama's chicks. It is alive. It's had a drink of water. It's knows where the food's at, although it really hasn't gotten into it. Little thing had a pretty rough night of it. You will notice that it's being warmed with a white light instead of the normal infrareds that we use. That's because my last infrared bulb burned out when I turned it on when I set this little toad up for it. But so far so good. It's alive. It's well. It seems to be well. It's pretty tired. It's gotten up and moved around a little bit, but it's probably in the neighborhood of about, after from the hatching here, it's probably about an hour, hour and a half. Um, it was still fairly damp when I had to put it in the brooder, basically because I just didn't want it to get caught up in the mechanisms of that automatic egg turner and killed. But this is kind of what goes on a homestead, folks. And when you think about it, it's kind of silly. This bird will probably be in the freezer in about 3 years after she's done with her laying time and so forth. But you fight like a wild man to try to, make sure that chick has a chance of at as much of a life as it's going to have. And you try to make it a good life. So there we go, little Australorp chick. And this would have been Broody Mama's dream come true, because it would have finally been a chick that looked like her. But I had thought about trying to take it over and get her to see if I could get her to accept it. But right now it is alive. It is seeming to get back on its feet a little bit, and I'm just not going to risk its life, because if she doesn't accept it, she'd probably kill it. So, and I don't have time to sit and babysit this scenario, 24 hours a day. Plus, I have to work today, so here in a couple hours I'm going to have to be leaving. So, but this one's doing okay. It's alive well. I canned some other eggs. There's probably another half dozen eggs I've got laying in here that I'm going to have to be hand turning and keeping a real close watch on. But it's kind of what happens if you're looking for this kind of a lifestyle. Understand that sometimes it means you need to get in there and do what you got to do. And every life's important, and you try to treat it that way. This little guy could have ended up in a trash can last night, or girl, or whatever it turns out to be. It was headed for the compost pile, and at least its little cries from inside that eggshell made me stop and reevaluate the situation and take a look at the other eggs, and it not only saved its own life, it probably saved its siblings. So yeah, kind of a fun thing. While being dead tired and sitting up babysitting a hatching egg was not on my agenda, it does all right. Kind of some of the stuff you do, folks, and it's very much worthwhile. Seeing this little one alive and out of its shell, and had a little drink of water this morning. And, like I said, it knows where its food's at. It didn't eat anything, which doesn't surprise me. It'll probably be later today before it decides it's going to eat anything. But anyway, that's the story on this one. It's a survivor, and gotta love it. You gotta admire it, because that little thing would have been a little quieter in that shell for about 2-3 minutes. It wouldn't be here this morning. So I'm glad it got vocal on me. Anyway, you folks have a really good day, and hope this brightens it up a little bit. Life continues. It's spring. Life's springing up everywhere. Folks, have a great day.